foreign exchange reserves have touched a record high of $681 billion. This is as of 23rd of August. In fact, the data has now been released by the central bank. Interestingly, the reserve has risen by about $7 billion in the reporting week. Before that, remember, it was about $4.5 billion. Now, the Reserve Bank has basically intervened in the foreign exchange market primarily to curb the excess volatility in the rupee. Now, that has brought in certain changes. In fact, let's just quickly take you through some of the details. There have been certain changes that have been brought in the foreign currency assets which have been caused by the RBI's intervention, as well as the appreciation and the depreciation of foreign assets that were held in the reserves. There is also a response now coming in. We'll try and see if we can take those responses that are coming in as far as the big details emerging with regards to the Forex Reserve. That in itself shows some of the tinkering that has essentially been done by the Reserve Bank of India, which has effectively brought in certain changes, and the reason why there has been a record high of $681 billion. This was the data that was released a short while back by the RBI. And in fact, let me just also take you through the trading foreign exchange reserve, the changes that we have seen in the prior week, and why there have been certain changes that have been brought in. The jump that you are seeing is from $4.5 billion to about $7 billion. And the RBI has also indicated that the excesses that were seen in the market, that has also been corrected, bringing in certain changes. And that is the reason why what you see on your screens right now, the jump that has come in after the RBI's intervention, as well as the appreciation or the depreciation of the foreign assets too. Now, what are the changes that have essentially been brought in by the RBI in terms of giving the much needed fillip to the forex reserves? There has been a volatility in the market, particularly with regards to the rupee. That seems to have also stabilized to a greater extent. In fact, we'll also try and see if we can put out the statement that has been put by the RBI a short while back. Now, this was about a few minutes ago that the RBI basically made the announcements with regards to the changes that have been brought in. Let's also take you through the rank of India in terms of the foreign reserves. Now, this comes slightly below Japan as well as Switzerland. But having said that, we've seen the big jump, particularly in the South Asian market. Let me bring in my colleague Rajat, who's joining us from the Republic Business Desk. Rajat, in terms of the changes that were basically brought in by the RBI to essentially stabilize the market, that seems to have worked, and India now hitting a record.
Shravan, so this is a big breaking that is coming in. When we talk about the GDP growth number that has just come in, the India's growth in the quarter first has stood at 6.7%. And also when you look at the forex, that is on all-time high. But the biggest highlight and the biggest breaking that is coming in right now is the GDP growth in the first quarter. And when you look at the numbers, the number has come in at 6.7% for the first quarter, that is April to June. And when we talk about the expectation, the market was expecting this kind of growth number, because there was some sort of a slowdown from the government expenditure side, because April-June was a quarter in which elections were taking place and the government spending was a bit slow. So that is impacting the GDP numbers, and this is a 5-quarter low at 6.7%. And if we look at quarter one in the same period last year, it was at 8.2%. And the last quarter, like the fourth quarter or FY24, the growth was 7.8%. So if you look at the growth numbers, obviously 6.7% is 5-quarter low, but this is driven by government less spending in the quarter one, April to June, because of low capex by the government due to election, and also because of slow growth in the manufacturing sector, Shravan.
Well, thank you very much, Rajat, for getting us the latest details. The tinkering that has essentially been done by the RBI also bringing in the changes that we are looking at right now, and the significant jump as far as India's forex reserves are concerned. That's all that we could pack in this edition of Live and Breaking. On the other side, my colleague Pragya joining you with Across the Republic.